marginal shelf, a little bit of weed, and we're done. So, if you've not seen one of these before, this is a Deeper Pro castable sonar. A brilliant addition to your armoury. This one I've been casting, I think it's 88 yards out to where I'm going. It will cast over 100 yards and still work at over 100 yards. And it basically pairs up with your mobile. So you download an app onto your mobile, and then this thing will be seen by the mobile, and as you drag it along the surface, it will tell you everything that's on the bottom. You can see weed on there are fish icons on there as well, so as you're dragging it along, if you moved over the top of a shoal of fish, you would see that. But personally, I'm using it as a depth finder. What I've done is put the float out to an area that I've caught fish from before in this swim, and I've always been told there's a bit of a trough out there. I've never used a marker float in this swim before. I've normally just been casting my rigs out and scattering bait around them. So I've cast this past the float and wound it back, and there is no trough. So the thing that people were talking about as the reason why the fish were out there is not even there. It's just nice and flat on the bottom. There's little tiny bits of weed out there, but it's pretty much the same depth as everywhere else. And the most important thing to learn from that is where you get the bites from is the most important information to store. Yes, this will tell you what more information, and if you want to cast it up against an island like I have done over there, you can see how steep the marginal slope is off the island, so you know where to put your rigs. Obviously you don't want to be on something that's completely sheer, you want to be on a much shallower gradient or a flat bit if you can find it. So in that situation it's really valuable. Now, one of the other situations I've used this in where I found it really useful is up at South Ings in Yorkshire, because it's really deep there, down to 50 foot in places. So what I've been doing is putting my float out first of all to the spot I'm probably going to fish, then walking down the bank and casting this past the float and drawing it back to the bank, and that's showing me the gradient of the marginal shelf. And if I find a flat bit, that's the bit I want to fish. Even if it's a couple of feet deeper than where I'd like to be, a flat bit is much better than fishing on a sheer cliff. The other situation these work well in is if it's really weedy. If you put the float out as a point of reference and then cast this around, you actually see the clear spots come up on your mobile phone. You can then clip this up, wind it in, go around the distance sticks, and whatever the depth of water was when you clipped up, you sort of add about a third of the depth on for the swing back of the lead when you're casting a rig out, and bang, you're on the clear area. And what I would do in that situation is wind my float in, go around the sticks with my float, add a third of the depth of the water on and put it out and have a feel around with the float as well. There's no substitute for feeling that lead hit the bottom and dragging it along and just seeing how big that clear area is. But to fast track you to finding them, that is a major, major edge. The one thing I hope these don't get used for is finding fish. There is a fish icon, it does pick them up on your phone. I think there's no substitute for seeing them show, for knowing where bites come from, keeping an eye on what other anglers are doing as well. All those skills that we've all honed in fishing for so long, I think they should remain. But if you use this as a depth finder, and it really can tell you extra information that you're probably not going to find easily with a float, it is a major, major edge.